The tow truck's winch creaked against the quiet of the night as my matte black Wrangler Jeer fled the curb. In her drawn curtain, HOA President Karen Whitfield grinned smugly. It was her victory, the result of 48 hours of scheming, accomplished with all the small-minded courtesy of a local tyrant, finally ridding herself of what she termed that military eyesore. What she didn't know, however, was that by making her run for beauty superiority, she had just created a federal incident. My name's Sergeant Ray Torres, reservist with the 75th Special Reconnaissance Unit. That night, I was in the middle of a classified covert training exercise, something that included using my personally modified, heavily armed Jeep as a mobile observation platform, all right here in the otherwise serene suburbs of Willowbrook Estates. The Jeep wasn't a truck. It had encrypted radios in it, night vision equipment, and specially designed monitoring devices, all field-tuned. This operation was planned to the minute. I had all the clearances, filings with 3 bureaucracies, temporary city parking authorization, and the sheriff's department had a copy of my orders on file. Every aspect was written down, documented, and cleared. One exception, Karen. Karen Whitfield had been a 3-year president of the HOA, and in that time had turned our friendly neighborhood into her own surveillance society. She used rulers to measure grass blades, stopwatches to time trash pickups, and mark down supposed offenses as if compiling a criminal file. Maps and spreadsheets detailing offenses covered her office walls. She once fined a neighbor $75 because their mailbox paint was not one of the approved colors. So when my Jeep appeared outside my home, tactical and unmarked, it was as if I'd rolled a tank onto her freshly manicured lawn. The matte finish, reinforced bumpers, antenna array. To Karen, it was a threat to everything she'd worked to control. The first warning came early, at 0600 hours. A laminated sign taped under my wiper, in Karen's purple signature handwriting on official HOA letterhead. This vehicle is in violation of HOA Regulation Section 3.2.2, subsections A through F. Remove immediately or face daily fines of $500. Within hours of that morning, I saw her power walking down my street in a velour jogging suit, dry despite the heat. I reminded her calmly that the Jeep was part of a 72-hour temporary authorized operation and would be leaving shortly. She was snappy with her reply. Official business? Here. We're not a military base, Sergeant. Your G.I. Joe toy vehicle is killing our property values. I've got 3 people complaining already. When I asked who complained, she embraced her clipboard and sneered, "That's confidential HOA business." Day 2, the threats increased. Karen had called out her usual lieutenants, Linda, 2 doors down, and Margaret from the corner lot. They circled the Jeep like buzzards, snapping photos and muttering over antennas and dubious hardware. That evening, after I was deployed 2 miles out to monitor for signals, Karen convened an emergency HOA meeting. I couldn't attend. Operational security took precedence. That's when she made her move. Referring to a little-known bylaw, she deemed the Jeep abandoned and unsafe. 2 board members, shown pictures of its military modifications, were persuaded to sign over. At 11 p.m., while I was off-grid per procedure, Al's towing service drove by. I returned at 2 a.m. to discover a towing receipt pinned to the lamppost that remained. A state of panic ensued. The Jeep held encrypted comms gear, surveillance gear, and classified documents. I immediately alerted my commanding officer, Major Patricia Chen. She did not mince words. Find that car. Now, the rest of the next 12 hours was a flurry of escalating phone calls, chain of command conferences, and frantic coordination. We located the Jeep at Al's impound lot, but the damage was already done. Civilian employees had rifled through the vehicle, taken pictures, and even powered up sensitive systems. It had escalated from HOA irritation to federal security breach. At noon, Willowbrook Estates was crawling with unmarked black SUVs. Federal agents stood at Karen's door. She greeted them with her usual arrogance, but instantly collapsed when they flashed credentials. They asked her questions she couldn't answer. Did you have anything to do with the taking of a government vehicle? Did you know it had classified systems in it? Can you account for your deviation from notice procedures? Karen stuttered. She insisted she was only enforcing the rules. But the agents already had the tow driver's testimony citing her word for word. Get that military monstrosity out of here before dawn. Her emails to board members declaring the Jeep a clear and present danger. Impound lot video footage showing employees laughing while they vandalized equipment. Within 48 hours, the Department of Defense and Homeland Security filed incident reports. The HOA received a federal cease and desist. Al's towing was slapped with charges for interference with government property. Karen, she became the subject of a criminal investigation. During an emergency board meeting, she sat silent as the FBI outlined the cost of her interference. Over $200,000 in operational damage, compromised training data, and the forced redesign of protocol. The U.S. attorney had a plea bargain to present her. $50,000 restitution, 200 hours of community service, and 3 years probation. Refuse and face up to 5 years in prison. The room exploded. Board members demanded her resignation on the spot. She tried to defend herself. "I was just doing my job, protecting the neighborhood." But no one was listening. The vote was unanimous. As of today, Karen Whitfield was no longer president. She departed clutching the plea documents, clearly upset. I heard her ask Linda, "Where am I going to find $50,000? Her designer purse slid off her shoulder. The FBI agent's card went flying to the floor. Linda said nothing. Margaret disappeared before the vote. Karen was alone. In the parking lot, she phoned lawyer after lawyer, her tone more and more shrill. "But I was enforcing the rules. Does that mean something?" Number, it did not. Not when you put national security on the line. If you thought this HOA nightmare was nuts, wait. There's plenty more where that is coming from. If you've ever had to deal with a power-tripping HOA like this video, comment below, what would you do if Karen towed away your classified military Jeep? Share this video with someone who needs a reminder. Don't mess with the U.S. military, even in the suburbs. Subscribe for more unbelievable true stories and dramatic takedowns you won't believe are real. It's not just a neighborhood, it's a battlefield. And Sergeant Ray Torres, he just won.